Good morning, traders. Today is Thursday, August 11th. My name is Charles, and this is the Pirate Traders live stream. All right, well, let's get right into it. What's happening in the market, Charles? Let's zoom on out and take a look at the daily. Well, what we've been stuck in for the last week and a half or so is what we would call a balancing area. It was a channel, and the market was just kind of bouncing up and down inside that channel. And what happened yesterday was we broke out of that channel to the upside. So that was bullish to see. And then in the overnight last night, we got continuation of that momentum to the upside. And so that is, confirmation of a breakout of this balance, which is bullish. The market may need to come back down and test it once again before it continues higher, but this is a confirmation that it was a good breakout yesterday. So that is bullish to see right out the gate. We are opening obviously with a very large gap up. The gap is from wherever the market opens back down to yesterday's high at 42.13. So the first order of business for the market, since the overnight inventory is net long, is to try to take profits and fill that gap. So does the market make its way all the way back down to yesterday's high? If it cannot, if it finds support somewhere above yesterday's high and it continues to push higher from there, that is bullish as what's called a gap and go. So a breakout of balance is bullish. And then a gap and go the next morning would be a confirmation of that bullish move. It would also be a gap and go if it just comes down and finds support at yesterday's high as well. That is also a gap and go. So whilst the first order of business is for the market to go lower, trying to fill that gap, it is not bearish unless we get to yesterday's high and we do not find support and we start to pull back down into yesterday's range. In which case, if we don't find support at yesterday's high, we'll look to repair the week reference left behind on the week M period low at 42.03. Looking for support there. If we don't get it, monitoring for continuation lower. So then looking to repair the week reference at 41.95. And then if we don't find support there, monitoring for continuation lower once again. And of course, that would bring us back into balance. It would bring us back into this channel on the daily. So that would be very, very bearish. So in my opinion, with the momentum created by the breakout yesterday, I think that is the least likely scenario to take place. I would say the more likely scenario for today is either a rotational day, kind of inside the range between the overnight high and yesterday's high, or continuation to the upside. So I would say I'm coming into the markets this morning neutral to bullish. First order of business, can they fill that gap? It's the exact same thing on the NQ, by the way, as well. So the NQ on the daily, it is bullish as we have now broken out of not only the short-term balance. Let's get to the NQ here. Not only did we break out of this balance area, which is bullish, but we also just broke through that larger downtrend. What you could almost call, the bear market. We're now working our way through there. So that is bullish to see as well. So same thing on the NQ as the ES. I think it would be more likely we would find support if we test that balance area high and then turn around and head higher or just rotate sideways. I think the least likely scenario would be to pull back down into that previous balance area. So I am neutral to bullish on both markets. Both markets looking for a gap fill. The gap fill on the Q would be to 13,408. You got lots of support around 13,440. So lots of potential for a gap and go here today. All right, the survey is out. 51 votes out of 126 people. Come on, y'all. You must have a guess. Do you think that gap is going to fill? You got to guess now in the next minute before the market opens. Do, 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 do. Up, the market is open. Will that gap fill? Survey says 62% of you think it will. What I should have asked is, were you looking for a gap and go? So when it fills, will we find support? Scooball, would you consider a gap fill like a test of balance? Pretty much, yeah. Although I wouldn't consider it unreasonable for us to just poke down and repair these weak references and then pull right back up. So I would be looking for support at yesterday's high and then monitoring for continuation lower from there. But yeah, if 95 breaks, it's a look above and fail. And things will get messy below there. Least likely scenario, in my opinion. All right, so as the market pushes above the opening price here, one trade setup to consider. It pushes up as it comes back down through the opening price. You can go short right at the open and then put your stop above the high at the time. That was that trade right there. Obviously, very good risk reward. Risking 3 points to make 30. Thank you, Fighter Pilot. Appreciate you. Such sweet things you say. Will they get that gap fill? That overnight inventory is very, very net long. We should see these ticks start to try to work their way back towards the zero line. How much do they tug price with them? All right, if you're in the short from the opening price, you can move your stop a tick below your entry. The half back in this little node right here should act as resistance for continuation lower. Ben, where do you find the tick chart? It's just ticker symbol TICK. No trick. It's just tick. For the NYSE, it's just tick. And for the Nasdaq, it's tick-Q. Giuseppe, if today doesn't go down, I will not trade for a month. What if we get a gap and go, Giuseppe? What if we find support and take off to the upside? All right, so the first support that we found here at 42.33 has good taper. So once again, we're looking for resistance at the halfback and this little node of volume just below the opening price, 42.39. And to take another poke at filling that gap. But if we keep making good taper like this, it's a sign. There are buyers waiting here. All right, well, they're pulling those ticks down towards the zero line, but they're not really bringing price with it. That's a sign. It could be a gap and go. It's a little bit bullish to see. We are getting two-sided trade, and we know who the shorts are. The shorts are the overnight, taking profits on their longs. So somebody's buying up here. Yes, sir. We get above that opening price, I'm bullish. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. A gap and go. So the next target to the upside is testing the overnight high at 42.47. Can we get up there? When we do we get resistance and get smacked back down? Or do we get new buyers up there at the overnight high? New buyers would be bullish for continuation higher. We're also looking for this area that was just, it was support for a second, then it was resistance for a second. So we're now looking for this to become support around 42.37 to get us up there to test that overnight high. The Shaw spilled my drink over the McDonald's song. You heard that sound and you thought, I got to get an Egg McMuffin. Screwball, it's getting choppy. Oh, come on, man. They're just building up that support. They're just getting themselves long. Linth? Linth? I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Can you explain what you get for becoming a member? A member of the Brigade? Of course I can. Well, first off, automatically you get some cool points. Like, you'll just be walking down the street and people be like, that person is cool. I could just tell. So there's that right out the gate. Now, what you get is you get access to a Discord, which is basically like a chat room to talk to other members of the Brigade. And you get access to daily live streams. So every day I live stream here for the first hour, and then I switch over to a private stream, which is only available for the members. And I stream there until 4 p.m. when the market closes. So that's really what you're paying for. You're paying to extend what you've been getting here for free all day long. Every day, all day, every day for $10 a month. So you can see my chart live. Yep, it's literally exactly the same as what you're getting right now, just for the rest of the day. Same chart, same two-way auction process, same banners, same terrible singing. Okay, so the NQ poked above the overnight high. That is a little bit bullish to see. But now we need to see it push up there and stay above that overnight high. I would say if the NQ passes back through 13 for like 75, then it's going to fill the gap once again. So it should be able to find support now and get back above that overnight high. Giles, welcome. Thank you for the sub. For those of you that haven't smashed that thumbs up yet, it's worth giving it a try. Maybe a few thumbs up will get us up above this overnight high. The market always appreciates some love, I find. I tell you what, if we can get above 100 likes, I bet you we might even could get ourselves a trend day higher today. I'm just saying it's possible. What would that look like, Charles? Well, we'd get above the overnight high and find support there. Then the B period would start to print. We'd get the initial balance going to the upside. Then the C period would begin the trend. And then the FOMO would begin. And all day long, they'd be desperately buying the market for fear of missing out. Step one, getting above this overnight high. Phoenix Rising. Also, you can cancel your Apple Music subscription, as I did, thanks to Charles providing the music. And just apply that $10 to your Brigade membership. Well, there you go. It's basically free. If you stop listening to professional musicians who know what they're doing and just listen to me. Okay, looking for support here at 41. We've come so close to testing that overnight high. Might as well just poke up there and see if there's any new business. Giles, do you feel like you were making a decision about the market direction earlier than you used to? A couple of months ago, it seemed like you rarely posted a bias in the first 30 minutes. No, sir. I think you may just be observing that we've had more gaps. It's all a matter of whether we're opening inside the previous day's range or not. Generally, if we open outside the previous day's range with a gap up or a gap down, the market can give me a signal right away, which it did this morning. Its very first attempt to fill that gap made beautiful, perfect taper, barely but 10 points below the open price, and then turned around and came right back through. That is a signal that the bulls are taking charge. Mateus, a gap fill would probably be good for finding buyers. Correct, yeah. A gap fill would give another test to the balance area high, which is where the, deeper pocket swing traders would be waiting. But the thing about FOMO, the thing about momentum is that it will shock you how far they can push it. When these traders wake up in the morning and feel like they missed their chance, feel like the market's going to go to the moon without them, boy, they will just keep piling on and push it higher and higher. So the gap and go is the first signal that they're doing that. Signal number 2, getting above that overnight high, finding new buyers. NQ passing back through the opening? Yeah, that's okay. It's still just building support. Building momentum. Convincing more and more people they should go long. Okay, so as we print the B period here, we just created a poor high. That increases the odds that the market is going to get the initial bounce to the upside, which is bullish. Repairing the poor high would also create a weak high to the overnight because it would be within one tick of the overnight high. So we now need to get above the overnight high to get good excess, increasing the odds that we're going to test that overnight high. It's a bullish. All right, so now the next question. We got the gap and go. We tested the overnight high. Do we get new buyers stepping in up here? Can we keep those ticks above the zero line? TV, are we done with old business? I was hoping that we aren't done. Right, so the overnight inventory was net long. So we know most of the traders in the overnight were long. Okay? I would say if they were going to take profits, they probably would have as the A period was pulling down, right? If they were going to get scared and think, oh no, I got to get out of my long trade, they would have done it there. Now that we've pushed above the overnight high and we're building support for continuation, why on earth would they take profits now? There's no reason to fear. So now they're going to stay in those trades. So is there old business? Well, sure, there's probably still some longs from the overnight in the market. But until they're given a reason to take profits, if they didn't panic out here, they're not going to panic out right here. They're going to see what they can get for it. So like I said, right now, the main focus is finding support here, right around the overnight high, and just keeping those ticks above the zero line. As long as there are more buyers in the market, which if the ticks are above zero, there are more buyers. As long as we stay above there, then we're likely to keep on pushing higher as the momentum is to the upside. And I want to be old business. Well, on the next pullback, buy some support, wait a couple hours, and you'll be old business. Ben, what is the play? The play is to be long the market until the momentum is done. It's bullish. Chrissy, sometimes, pretty rarely though. Normally in a case like that, I would take profits. So I'd go long at the opening price, take profits at the overnight high, and then buy the overnight high again when it comes back down and becomes support. You see what I'm saying? So like get long, take profits, wait for it to push higher, get back in the long again, like that. Rather than like get long, let it push higher, add to it. I'm just a little more conservative than that. I like to put the profits in my pocket before looking for a next trade. So this is that FOMO that we talked about, right? Now traders are starting to panic. Wait, I'm not long, and it's going to go to the moon. Oh no, what do I do? And the FOMO begins. And it will shock you how far they can push it. And yeah, I should have held longer. I too am conservative. Nothing wrong with taking profits, brother. There's always a chance to get back in the trade. Ben, timing good entries is almost most of the game. Well, it depends on your trading style, right? What the whole game. Okay, I'm going to just give you guys, this is going to sound like I'm being a dick, but I'm being genuinely honest. 10% of the game is your ability to read the market and have an understanding of what it's doing. 90% of it is risk management. 90% of it is once you have an understanding of what the market is doing, only taking trades that have a high probability of working out, where you have to take as minimum risk as possible. So one strategy for doing that is getting in with very tight stops and nailing your timing, which is what you're describing. In which case you have to have a skill set for that. You have to be very good at timing. But you could also just use much wider stops, in which case you have to trade with smaller size. So then you maybe don't have to be as good at timing, but you have to have a bigger account size, because you can never risk more than 2% of your account. So if you want to take a wider stop, you have to have a larger account to be able to do that. That's why they say the more money you have to trade with, the easier it is. Because you don't have to be as good at timing. It's all about managing your risk. BBQ. I blame the landscapers who just showed up right at the critical moment and distracted me. That is actually fair. That does happen sometimes. Something outside of, the market distracts you from it and you miss an opportunity. I can't tell you how obvious it is to me the effect that a good night's sleep has on my trading. Like, it's so blatantly obvious to me now. Looking at my trading record, like if I go out drinking the night before and I don't get much sleep, I trade like shit the next day almost every time. And when I'm like well rested, I get some exercise, I'm focused, I trade so much better. Nothing to do with ability to read the market, nothing to do with risk management, entries, trade setups, just sleep. Just the amount of sleep I get literally affects the money I make. Ben, where I currently am, it's 12 a.m. Where are you? Where in the world is Ben? Yeah, if you're going to trade the U.S. markets during U.S. hours, you got to sleep on our schedule. Ben, in Australia, the Sunshine Coast. Sunshine Coast, that's northeast, right? Below Brisbane. All right, so what are we observing so far? The market is pushing higher and building volume at a higher price. Rather than pulling down and getting the support at the overnight high, it is building the support at a higher price. That is a sign of a trend, which is bullish. Alvinator from Melbourne. Good day. Lona, how do you decide entry positions? Oh boy. Well, it's a simple equation for me. First, I have to, so basically when I'm looking at the chart, when I'm sitting down in front of my computer to trade, I am not trying to figure out, do I want to go long or short? Where do I get in? That's not the first place I start with. I start by asking myself, what is the market trying to do? Right? Like today, the market wants to do something today. What is it trying to do? And so I ask myself questions until I feel like I have an idea of what the market is trying to do. Then I ask myself, how good of a job is it doing? So it's basically, I think it's trying to do this. So for example, today, I think the market is trying to go higher, right? Why do I think it's trying to go higher? Because of the signals it's given me. It gave me a breakout of balance yesterday. It gave me the gap up. It gave me the gap and go. It's given me the initial balance to the upside, blah, blah, blah. All the things we've talked about. So those are confirming the market wants to go higher and it's doing a really good job of it. So the next question is, okay, I know the market's trying to go higher and I know it's doing a good job. So then I'm bullish. I'm looking for a long trade. I want to get long. So now it's a question of where do I put my entry, right? Where do I get long? And then it just becomes a matter of my own personal risk tolerance. What am I willing to risk, right? So for example, I think the market's going to keep going long from here. I think if somebody were to get long right now at the high, they could make money selling to somebody else at a higher price. Would I get long at the high right now? Of course not. I would not do that. I would wait for a pullback because the way I trade, I like to buy support when I can use a nice tight stop. And so I don't have to risk very much. But if I had a big account and I had a lot of money to trade with, I'd freaking go long right now and just use a nice wide stop. So it's all a matter of personal preference. But once you know which direction the market is going, once you know that it's going to go up and you know you want to go long, it is merely a matter of choosing where you want to enter and where you would put your stop. So if you wanted to buy this support right here and you wanted to put your stop, say, right below the half back down here, then you would know you're risking like 8 points. Okay? So if you're risking 8 points, what position size can you get in and only be risking 2% of your trade, of your account, right? So let's say, you've got $50,000. You could probably get in with a couple of ES contracts right there. If you've only got $5,000, you can probably only get in with like one MES, right there. So that's how you decide your position size. So direction is decided based on the market information. Entries are decided based on support and resistance, and the amount of risk is decided based on the distance between the entry and the stop. And it is a lot of actual math, but after a while, you just do it instinctually. You just kind of know what position size should I be getting in here, where should my stop be, so on and so forth. You just intuit these things after a while. So as far as what kind of continuation we can look for here, pretty much a range about the size of yesterday's candle. So if this was the distance from the balance area high to the balance area low, actually, let me redraw this. If that's the distance from the balance area high to the balance area low, we can expect continuation on a breakout. We can expect excess to about that distance. So you're looking at the 4280 area as a potential target for today. If we can keep this momentum going. That also corresponds very nicely with this previous balance area high over here. Probably be some sellers waiting up there. Ben, with a little pullback at the moment, how do you hold your nerve and not take profits? Well, that's part of your system that you have to develop for yourself. You're different than me. I have no problem. Listen, I've watched a market get a gap and go and trade higher for hours and hours and hours so many times that I can get long and just sit back, relax, and not care because of experience. But if for you, you're less confident because you haven't seen this happen before, then you just have to trade it differently. And that would be buying dips and selling rips, right? So go long, go long, take profits. Comes back down, go long, take profits. Just trade it like that. If your emotions are affecting you, take a trade to manage your emotions. Another trick is partial profits. So like if you go long and the market pushes higher and it starts to come back down, you get nervous, just take partial profits. Take off, a little bit of it and stay in for the rest. That's another way to manage those emotions. NQ support, same as the ES, is halfback, which is right about at that overnight high. And where they kind of currently are, 13,530s. At this point, you definitely don't want to see the NQ get back through the opening price. I don't suspect it will. I think they'll get buyers right here and continuation higher. But if it does break through that overnight high and it comes back down through the opening price, they're going for the gap fill. So that would be your signal the momentum is over. Honestly, if they pull back inside the overnight range, you pretty much know the momentum is over. So this is the moment for the buyers on the queue. Time to defend. Got to keep those ticks above the zero line. This is the way. ES testing support at 4250. All right, well, moment of truth as we're about to print the C period here. Can we keep these ticks above the zero line? Can we find support at the overnight high? Mark, could you call that taper good, or do we still have unfinished business? No, that's not good taper. It's not the worst taper in the world, but it's certainly not good. Your numbers are going the wrong way. 12, 17, 19, they need to be going the opposite. So that is a sign of unfinished business or potential for more business to be had. But now it's a matter of support. It's a matter of the buyers. Can they get in there and get back up there? All right, so with the printing of the C period, we've left some single prints behind in the B period. That does increase the odds the market will need to pull down and backfill those single prints. But then it also increases the odds that there will be support. The fact that that is right at the halfback and the overnight high is just even more reason to look for support here around the 42, 46, 50 level. If they can get the C period above the B period high by 2 ticks, the market will be one time framing higher. And let me just say, there is nothing There is literally not one single lineup of events that could be more bullish than a break out of balance with a gap and go and a market trending higher. Like, that's as bullish as it gets. So we're looking for support at 42.46 and seeing, can we get that C period high above that B period high as a sign of continuation of this momentum. If we start to pull back down inside the overnight range, I would start to feel a little more neutral. And as same thing with the ES as the NQ, if we pass back through the opening price, 42.40, if we cannot find support and we pull back down there, then I would be looking for a gap fill. So I would be short, looking for the market to head back down to 42.13. But there is no reason to expect that now. The momentum is still to the upside. Good luck and happy trading. If you're a member of the Brigade, I will see you on the private stream. Bye.